After 22 years, I'm finally returning to El Salvador. I'm originally from here and have not been back since I left at 11 years old. I know the country has changed a lot since I left, so it's going to be an interesting adventure to rediscover it. It was cool coming back home as an adult and being able to see my old home with brand new eyes. Everything looks so small to me now and so big to me then. Things felt so foreign and very familiar at the same time. It was a weird sensation, but very cool altogether. It felt like seeing an old family member, and there's a lot to catch up on. We briefly made a stop at my childhood house in Santa Ana, and then headed directly to a beach house we had rented for the weekend, along with family members we had not seen in decades. The time we allotted for this trip was not much. It was going to be a quick 5 days, but we are determined to make the most of it. And with sunsets like this, I can already tell that this will be time well spent. The next morning we spent lounging and recouping from the night before, so it was the perfect time to explore the area. This coast is located in the Departamento de Sonsonate, and the beaches here are gorgeous. There are many homes here that have been built for the sole purpose of tourism, which has sprouted a new market for the local economy. Regardless of your political allegiances, once you're here you can feel the tension of crime is completely gone. With that tension gone, it left the door open for new entrepreneurial opportunities that have benefited the community really greatly. There's very little I can add describing the beauty of the beach and the surrounding area that the video isn't already doing. Its charm, however, cannot be described in images. This town is full of fishing communities, so fresh seafood is abundant and delicious. Also, this isn't by any means a rich area at all. Most of these families survive by the fishing trade, with tourism rapidly becoming a new avenue because of the demand of hospitality. Kicking our trip off at the beach was the perfect way to begin our trip back in El Salvador. I was surprised at how far my little country has come. It made me excited to see what awaited for us in the next few days. The following day we traveled to Concepcion de Ataco, which is a small mountain town in Departamento de Aguachapan. This old town has a large number of colonial buildings still standing, and its roads are made of cobblestone, further enhancing the ancient yet beautiful aesthetic of the town. One of the highlights of coming here is taking a tour down the Ruta de las Flores, which translates to Route of Flowers due to its majestic look during blooming season in the spring. There are many rentals for all-terrain vehicles and motorcycles along the road, and also guided tours on buses. If you're in the market for some artisanal artwork of all types, this is your spot. You can find all types of curiosities in the market streets of Ataco. There's always something that will spark your eye. There's a very unique aura that surrounds this town. It is something that is clearly felt when walking the streets of this magical relic forgotten in the mountains. There's a sense of nostalgia when being here that I felt deeply within. Having never been here, not even while I lived in El Salvador as a child, it seemed strange. Maybe it's because of stories that my grandfather told me as a kid that painted the town of his childhood in El Salvador, and in my mind's eye it looks just like this. For me, it was like stepping through a mirror in time. The following morning we spent in downtown Santa Ana, which is a city located to the western side of El Salvador. This area is known for its ancient cathedral, located at the center of the city, which is unfortunately going through renovations at the moment. Also, there's a central plaza with many restaurants. You can see monumental buildings like the city government building and the National Theater, which are both relics of the colonial era of El Salvador. This is one of the areas that I remember fondly from my own time living here in El Salvador. I remember it quite differently, however. I didn't see as many people out and about on foot at late hours of the night. Not necessarily here at the plaza, but the adjacent streets. Nowadays, there's people walking on foot everywhere, and it does feel quite nice to park the car and get to places on foot. There's many nooks and crannies that you can miss staying in the car. There's an ice cream place that is a favorite of all the locals called El Sin Rival, which translates to without rival. And honestly, I can see why they're so confident. Their ice cream is delicious. Another place worth a visit is El Tazumal Ruins on the western side of El Salvador, near the city of Chalchuapa. It's always interesting to see places so ancient such as this one. An interesting fact about this particular site is its proximity to the town. It is only one fence away from a busy market, which makes this a truly unique spot. There are some areas that were closed off during our visit because they had ongoing excavations. There are new mounds discovered here annually, and more areas are being dug out from the ground. Seeing this happen in person was very interesting. The face of El Salvador has truly evolved. It is now a very culturally rich destination, but it also has become a more comfortable and hospitable place. There are many new restaurants that we visited both in Santa Ana and in other places around the country, and we were pleasantly surprised at the amenities and food varieties offered. One area in particular near the capital is El Boquerón, which means the crater, which is a hilltop drive where you can find many great places to eat. You can now pretty much find any type of high-quality international restaurants in El Salvador, and it's nice to know that every palate can be catered to. One of the highlights of the trip was our visit to Coatepeque Lake. This large body of water is nestled between two active volcanoes in the westernmost region of El Salvador. It is known for great fishing, beautiful blue waters, and its many amenities and restaurants with amazing views of the volcanoes and the lake. Many of the restaurants offer tours and rentals of water sport vehicles. We decided to grab a jet ski and do a self-paced tour of the lake. Right after that, it was time to eat, and the food at the restaurant where we stopped was immaculate. Later that afternoon, we made the drive up the crater to a place called Cerro Verde, which translates to Green Hill. We stopped at a coffee shop at the top of the mountain and had some of the best coffee with breathtaking views. The views from Cerro Verde were beautiful, and it paints a good representation of the natural offerings of the mountainous regions of Central America. Interestingly, these mountains also serve as home of the most pristine and well-tasting coffee in the world, much due to the rich volcanic soil that is a prominent feature of the region. Our time in El Salvador has come to an end, but after being here even for a short time, I can assure you it won't be the last time. Being here after being gone for so long felt surreal. I love remembering many things of my childhood, but also discovering new things. The country is beautiful, and I think it's the perfect time to visit. We had a great time. Until next time.